Hello, everyone. I think there is a technical error. I can still hear my sound. I think my browser wasn't muted. Sorry for the technical mismatch. So it is muted now, as I need to see the program is live or not. So hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. We have a special event today, and we have a special guest with us. Today, we are launching Coastal Tide website. And we have worked past few months, not few, more than that, to come to this stage. And I think it's now ready for us to launch Coastal Tide. So we have with us Chris Silverwood, the founder and CEO of Coastal Tide. And I just wanted to ask you, if you wanted to ask us any question, please feel free to ask us through the comment box. And you're watching this live webinar from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. So I just wanted to add Chris Silverwood with me. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Dr. Shaw.
Thank you very much for joining this live webinar. I just wanted to mention to all the viewers that we're going to be discussing more into today about Coastal Tide and why Chris has Chris has founded Coastal Tide. And we're going to be asking a lot of questions related to sales, strategy, and a lot of other things. So thank you very much, Chris, for working with us a long time now, nearly a year that we are working together. And now we have our final product, Coastal Tide websites, and as well as we are working to support individuals. So can you tell our viewers a bit more about you and about Coastal Tide, please?
Thank you, Dr. Shaw. Well, hello, everybody. No, thank you for inviting me on this call. No, I mean, Coastal Tide was set up from a real passion for helping businesses really achieve growth. My experience, just very quickly, my sales background was with quite a lot of blue chip companies, the likes of 𝐒𝐳𝐬𝐿, which I'm sure most people have heard of, Kerry Foods, Bayer Consumer Healthcare, 𝐵𝐸𝐼𝐻, 𝐒𝐲𝐻, and Sanofi. So a lot of time in consumer healthcare businesses. However, since then, I've worked in numerous SMEs, in the apparel industry, in the hygiene industry, in the PPE and workwear industry, and latterly in electronics companies. So I have had quite a lot of extensive experience across industries. And really, I came to the conclusion about 12 months ago that I really wanted to go out on my own and see if I could help companies through their growth journeys. So really from startup all the way through to scale up and then an IPO. So through the whole process, because there are certain basic things that are required, and externally I've certainly had a lot of experience over the last 25 years. And what I have found is generally most of the challenges are the same. Whether you're a £100 million business or a £1 million business, you can usually count the challenges on one hand. So that's really where Coastal Tide came from a passion to really help to see businesses succeed and people succeed.
Thank you, Chris. It was a pleasure to working with you. And when we start working with you, we've been supporting you with social media as well as supporting with your technology. And most of the time, I realize that it's not one-way thing; it's a two-way thing. I also, Terry is another of my clients, and any other clients that we work with. Normally, we say that yes, it's a give and take. Like we learn from you, and we also give you something in return. So it's been a pleasure journey working with you, and I'm really thankful for our collaboration. And it's not like Coastal Tide, we're going to be collaborating more projects together. And the first thing we did, Coastal Tide. So I will give a tour a little bit later. I just wanted to ask you, because you've been working last 25 years for supporting individual businesses. You have other collaborations and all other things, and come up with Coastal Tide to support individual businesses. Why you name it Coastal Tide? Why not something else?
Because well, I think I have a passion. I live by the sea. That was one of the main reasons. But also, a tide represents, if you think about the challenges that the business have or has, spring tides, neap tides come in and out all the time, but it's fairly consistent. And the challenges still come, but they're consistent in what they are. And it was really, really about saying, well, look, there are challenges. There are challenges in business. We have them all the time. But as long as we're aware of them, and that there is a process to deal with them. I wanted to do something that I was passionate about. That isn't to say that I just help businesses on the South Coast. I've got businesses that I've got clients that I'm currently working with as far as Manchester at the moment. All the way down to sort of the Bournemouth area that I'm in right now. So a real mixture of people.
That's very great to know. So I just wanted to ask you one specific questions regarding what is your main drive to set up Coastal Tide? I know that you wanted to support businesses, support them increasing revenue, but apart from that, what was your main drive? Like anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, that is generally it. I've worked with, I've seen small businesses really struggle, having been in them, and I've seen that it can drag out that timeline for a business to enable them to hit their vision, because they're just not getting the traction they need, or they're having to research, best ways of dealing with the top UK leading retailers, and they don't know how to do it, and they'll burn 6 to 12 months just understanding how that process works instead of trying to get ahead of the game. And I think, through my experience, that it was really just, instead of being in an environment that I was very used to, it was going out and trying to share and impart that knowledge and passion that I have about seeing growth in not only in businesses but people. And seeing people develop and grow, I get motivated by that. It's great to see people engaged in a business and really passionate about what they want. So that was the other reason.
Thank you, Chris, because we're working together for a long time now, and I can understand that when you wanted to improve a business, you need to improve the founder or the CEO or the director they are running the business, because if their mindset is not towards growth, you cannot improve it. So thank you for sharing that okay, it's not only the business you're going to be contributing, it's also those people they are engaged with it. They have to have a growth mindset. But another thing is just my experience that I have experienced so far working with SMEs. Most of them, they don't have a growth mindset. And in that point, they failed. And another thing I have seen that is DIY. People wanted to do it themselves rather than hiring a professional like you or like me or like others. They have experience working with business for a long time. Did you face the same thing working with SMEs, or you experience are different than others, than mine?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have experienced a lot of that as well. You don't know what you don't know, and a lot of business owners that I've worked with, they really don't focus on the strategy. They never really take a balcony view of the business. It's all very much at a granular level. It's very much focused into operations, and really struggle to think further ahead than the following day or the following week. And it's not applicable to everybody, obviously, but there was a statistic which I'm sure you're aware of, and the viewers are, that about 54% of over 2,000 businesses recently interviewed said they didn't have a business plan, and if they did, it was in their head. I think that alone just goes to show what it's like, and it's a real contrast working in corporate and then working, in a small startup or a medium-sized business. It's a real contrast and a great learning. I've probably learned more in the last 6 years of working in the SME environment than I did in 25 years in corporate. Just because you're involved and you have to understand every part of the business. And also there's not 15 people making decisions. You can make decisions fairly quickly and empowered to do so.
I totally agree with you that when you talk to SME leaders, some of them, they say that they know everything and that is on their in their brain. And that time I said, okay, that's going to be very difficult to work with you, because those people, they have everything in their brain. It's very difficult to see, because I cannot see what is going on in your brain. It has to be on a paper that I can see, I can read, and my eyes or my brain that can read it. And this is, I think, a general problem to the SME leaders. They are open, but they are not quite open to write it down what they wanted to achieve in the long run. You know
Yes.
that when you work, or all the strategies that we work with, we need to see the end of the road, because if you do not see the start and the end, you cannot prioritize the growth. And that time people failed mostly because they do not see the end, and they do not see the opportunities, and they do not see the threats, and they do not do the SWOT analysis. So that aspects, I talked to many people yesterday. I was doing an event with Anna Bromington. You know her very well. We do not see that people, they care about it. They care about their dream, but they cannot care. They do not care about nurturing it to go to the next levels. So to all the viewers, you know that Chris is a business partner, business builder, business strategist, whatever you say, growth partners. So we work together to support individuals and businesses. And I will go to the tour now to let people know about Coastal Tide, the new website. And you probably see it. Just give me a second. So with Coastal Tide, we have spent relatively few months, I think 5-6 months now, to develop the funnel. So what we did, we have at Gen Z marketing agency and Time Research and Innovation, we have created knowledge for excuse me, for funnel. And we have created the branding as well as the logo for Coastal Tide. You can see representing Coastal Tide, and as well as the entire site was done consulting with Chris, as well as his vision to represent his ideas. So this is a funnel with consultation. So you can book a consultation with Chris Silverwood. He has a calendar there, and you can book 30 minutes free calls with him to understand which stage you are in and how you can get supported with him. You can understand with the explainer video here that we have created for Chris to understand why you need Chris for you to get involved. And you can also understand why you need a growth partner with you. You're probably thinking that, yes, I understand my business, I know what to do, and I will do it yourself. So this services is not for those people, they wanted to do it yourself or DIY. This is for those people, they have a growth mindset and they value knowledge. So with Chris, you can have substantial knowledge and growth, and he will tailor his methodology for you to grow to the next levels. So you can see we have also added those businesses he has already worked in the service area he is supporting now. So you will see all the areas you can get supported. And as call to actions, you can directly get started, contact him through, or you can send a message to him as well. Instead, if you wanted to book a meeting call, you can book a free consultation call through his calendar. And additionally, we're just developing the book. It will be ready in next couple of weeks' time. So you can download a version of a free copy, Mastering Growth Strategies for Global Success. And you can see the portfolios he has already worked on, and as well as all of his packages. So if you wanted to have any of the packages, feel free to contact him directly and frequently ask question if you have. And we also have developed a video about talking about coastal tide and why it is important. I'm not going to play all of this now. I think you understand what is out there and how to reach coastal tide. We're also working on other social media and as well as LinkedIn to create some other aspects, page and so on. As you know, this is a continuous development, so we're going to be working towards that. We're also building a website, and we're going to be launching the websites next month or the following months when it is ready to launch. But on a nutshell, this is for you to work with Chris. He has vast knowledge, as well as you can grow faster. You can imagine. So that's end of my tour, Chris. You know that you have motivated us to change things. You have motivated us like writing contents, posting those things, selecting an appropriate one. This was, I would say, two-way thing rather than one-way thing. And we prioritize to work with our clients that when you work with someone, you understand them better, as well as you create and grow together. So on that scenario, why people need to have a growth mindset, why you need a growth mindset to engage some special people or qualified people for their growth rather than doing DIY.
Well, I think that's quite a wide question. I think what I would probably rephrase it is where do I see the main challenges in revenue growth?
Mm-hmm.
So just boiling it down to kind of there's 101 different things. However, there's four main things I think really that people need to ensure they've got enough detail on. The first one is just clarity on the target market. I worked for a business a while back, and they wanted to contact every single customer that had any interest whatsoever in electrical devices. So if it had an electrical pulse, then that was a target customer. Now clearly, that covers a very wide scope of customers. So having real clarity on your target market is so important. And I think when you're a startup or even when you're a small size company, you really want to drive that revenue quickly and get the cash flow coming in so you can start to invest in the business. However, sometimes it's okay, for example, to target a niche market if you're a startup, because it's customers potentially. It's a category that you understand quite well, and therefore generates the money to enable you to invest in the business to grow faster. That, as well as the target market, though, you've got to really understand what your ideal customer profile looks like and create a matrix for that. And this is not, something straight out of a textbook. I mean, this theory was written from tried and tested companies over hundreds of years, but the terminology now, it wasn't when I first started 25 years ago, is ICP, so your ideal customer profile. But, do companies have that? Do they know what their ideal customer looks like, feels like, should act like? And it's really important that to be able to focus all your marketing efforts, strategy, sales efforts, and obviously supports the vision of a business if you really understand who you're going for. Now, that's kind of the first area which we could spend all day talking about that. But the second area is really about, and this was something that was drummed into me in corporate, but is also applicable to smaller businesses and any business really, was, you know, there's, I would say, three main areas that you drive sales in the business. The first one is driving penetration. And what I mean by that is acquiring new customers. You know, so customer acquisition, obviously that makes sense. Now, it's not easy acquiring new customers. You know, it isn't. But if you've got your target market correct, your ideal customer profile correct, then it's a far easier job to do than reaching out blind. But it's in terms of, you know, driving penetration, acquiring new customers. So it's acquiring new people to your business, and which is obviously is a critical part. But don't forget that customer retention is also important. You know, it's far more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to retain an existing one. And you know, we forget that sometimes. We forget checking in on our existing customers to see how they are and really showing that we care about what they're doing. And so that's quite important. The second point after driving penetration, which was driven into us, was driving what's called frequency of purchase. So getting those customers to buy more often. So getting your customers to buy more often. They placed an order, which is great. How do you get them to buy more often? And there's a number of things in that, you know, and how we're marketing our product range, what we're doing, you know, how do we have the right scope and scale of the range that we're offering. And the third way is driving weighted purchase. And what that means is getting your customers to buy more. So in three areas, in summary, you've got acquiring new customers, obviously, getting your customers to buy more often, and getting your customers to buy more. That's it. You know, and I think, and within that, there's a lot of supporting execution strategy behind it. But that's the second point, I would say, on the main challenges in driving revenue growth. The third one is, you know, having been in sales for a while, I remember somebody said to me once that if something didn't sell, it was the sales team's fault. If it did, the marketing did a great job. Now, you know, the reality is where businesses fall down quite a lot is there's terrifying collaboration and poor communication between both departments. You know, sales and marketing should be aligned completely together in what they're doing and have shared KPIs and communicate on a regular basis. You know, I've seen both teams. I've seen sales and marketing teams do this before. Where it's worked really well is where they've done this and they've engaged, collaborated, and worked well as a team. So that's really important. But on the sales side specifically as well, you know, sales excellence is about capability and competence, period. And, you know, do you have a clear process in place? The businesses have a clear process in place for a sales process. If they don't, why don't they? You know, what is stopping them from doing that? It doesn't have to be a complicated process. You can do it on one sheet of paper. It doesn't have to take an onerous amount of time to create a sales process. It can be done very quickly. So do you have the right process in place? And do you have the right people in the right seats? You know, sometimes you think somebody's in the right seat, doing the right job for you, but it might not be where their strengths and weaknesses are. Do your team have a GWC? Do you know what GWC means, Dr. Shah?
No.
Okay, well, I'll show you what. So do they get it? That's the G. Do they want it? That's the W. And importantly, have they got the capacity to do it? So, you know, always asking those three questions about the team that surrounds you ensures that you have the passion, the willingness, and the commitment forward. So that was what I say is the critical point. And again, I could spend a lot of time. I'm currently working with a client specifically on the capability part at the moment, which is obviously you know, is a 2.5 month project, so it's taking quite a bit of time to do. The third one is customer excellence. Now, it should be at the top. Wasn't in any particular order, this, so apologies for that. Should be right at the top. So, you know, customer excellence, you know, driving revenue growth. If you've got appalling delivery service levels, so OTIF, everybody knows, I'm sure, is on time and in full. And when I was working directly with the big grocers 10 years, 15 years ago, you know, they would have a board in their office. I remember going to Asda's head office years ago, and there would be a board up, and if your OTIF percentage was below the 98% or 97.5%, I think it was, then you would be on the whiteboard as you walked into their head office. So, you know, it's a name and shame type process. Now, things have moved on a bit, but customer excellence hasn't. And, you know, it's so important to get it right. If you're going to be late with a delivery, or you're going to short a customer with a product or a service, then 9 times out of 10, although it's not ideal, if you communicate to them with plenty of time, they are okay with that. Where it breaks down, in my experience, is that when you don't communicate it, it comes as a shock and they can't manage it internally. So, you know, customer excellence comes from just making sure that you've got what they've ordered, when they want it, tick, tick. And that's it. The fourth part of driving revenue growth, which will come across it, which we'll touch on a bit later, is around effective KPIs that can be measured and shared across the business. And we'll come on to that when we talk about accountability and traction. But that's that, you know, KPIs is just a word, unless there's anything behind it that means anything, then it just stays a word. People say they have KPIs, and I just say, well, okay, have you? Let's have a look at your KPIs. What do they look like? When's the last time they were reviewed? Who knows about these? Oh, I know about them. Does your marketing head of? No, they don't know about it. Why not? So again, an alignment issue. So that's where I see, just in the time we have today, sort of the main challenges in driving revenue growth.
Thank you, Chris. That was really contributing. So I think users and all the viewers, you are watching these live events, you will understand why it is very important for you to understand your business first. And you know that, Chris, as a strategist yourself, you prioritize the strategical developments. And I think it is the core for anyone to grow and develop, because if you do not understand the strategical developments, if you do not do that, then you cannot find out where you have done very excellent job and where you have done very worst. So in that aspect, strategical development is core for any businesses. We just have a questions from Azama. Just give me a second. I just add this question to you. How important it is for a business to ensure best-in-class customer service?
Well, I think I've just answered that in the last comment, because I probably included that, I think, in the last comment. Really, it's about service level, on time and in full, and you know, businesses need to become customer-centric in all that they do. It's easy to get lost in other things and get busy in other things and lose the fact that you're there for the customer, and that everything you do, your strategy in every single department or speciality needs to be focused around the customer and your ideal customer profile.
Yeah, because, you know, when we talk about prospecting ideal customer, sometimes we go we go border, like, okay, we wanted to target 15 years old, we wanted to target 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, and a lot of other things. In that relation, what we should do when we create an ideal customer profile, like you say that it has to be very tailored, and on that message, can you elaborate it a little bit more, that how tailored it has to be, like when you create customer profiles?
You just have to just identify the areas that are important to you, and where you think your product or service is going to add value, and then where are you going to get the most value from that. Doing a matrix is one thing. Getting it right for your products or service is another. But it's really important just to be clear on who it is you're trying to target. You know, is it a 25 to 35-year-old female? Is it a dog walker? Is it somebody? Just really be clear on who your target market is. That's kind of the essence of it.
Thank you, Chris. So to all the viewers, thank you very much for watching today's live webinar. I'm Dr. 𝐒𝐲 Siddiqui from 𝐒𝐶 Marketing Agency, and we have Chris Silverwood from the Coastal Tide, and we are talking about business development and growth, how you can increase your sales revenue with a strategical developments. So we're going to be asking some more questions to Chris in the next half an hour. So if you wanted to ask any question to us, then we will ask that question to Chris. So Chris, we've been talking for business development, and you know that you're going to be doing a workshop soon. And I just wanted to let people know that Chris is doing workshops on the Ferrum Innovation Center in November. So we will include that information with this on the comment box, maybe in between our programs, but you will have it there. You can learn more how you can grow your sales. And when we talk about strategy, so what about strategic cost relationships? What do you mean by that?
So that's a really good question. In the old days, I'm not that old, but it was very much about tactical type of customer relationships. And what I mean by that was it was a short-term view, and the customer would only view you as a provider of products. That's it. And that really limited your growth potential, and also it made the relationship pretty poor. You didn't have a real relationship with that customer, and of course then there would be the threat that customers may switch brands or suppliers because there's no time invested in that relationship. It moved on a number of years ago, and strategic relationships are the ones where you can get the most value. Now, it takes blood, sweat, and tears to get a good strategic relationship going, but it's certainly well worth it because they're value-driven relationships mainly, and it's really based on trust and shared goals. And you're seen also, I would say, as a strategic partner rather than just a supplier. And that drives high loyalty to you, and again, less likely for those customers to switch to a competitor. And I think strategic account planning is a critical part of what you do with your most important customers. You're sharing information with them; they're sharing it with you. It's a very open book. You have shared targets. So whether that's new customers or sales targets, you review them together, and you go on a growth journey together, and they see you as a trusted partner, not just as a supplier. So that's a really, I guess, my view on the difference between strategic and tactical customer relationships.
Thank you very much. So we just have another questions from Shantanu. He's asking why KPIs are important, and can you share a success story with us?
So I think if we look at KPIs in general, or if we look at accountability, if you like, accountability is probably the word that I would use for KPIs. And I said earlier that KPIs mean nothing unless they have really been thought through and they're measured. And I don't want to use the word smart, but I will because it's still important. KPIs have to be specific measures, got to be achievable, and they've got to be time bound. So they have to have a time frame. But that's all well and good in theory. I think I've been in businesses where there's no accountability, there's absolute rubbish communication, there's stagnation in the business, and it's in complete chaos. And a lot of that comes from not really being very clear. So from a leadership level, first of all, on the leadership team, it's really important that you are defining, I would say, between 3 and 7 priorities that you have as a business that you must accomplish in the next 90 days. Now, and that supports the vision. So, you know, what are your big rocks? What are the big things that you need to tackle as a business? And everybody needs to be aligned on that. You know, and that gives a real focus to the business. And that aside as well, you know, there's so many things written about the effectiveness of meetings and how often you should meet. And when we drill down to KPIs for teams, you know, accountability is just having people visually in front of other people saying they have done something or they haven't done it. And the most successful business I've been in are where people have weekly KPI update meetings, not bi-monthly or quarterly, weekly, KPI meetings. So they're accountable to take action effectively. Now, one of the things that works really well, and I've seen it work fantastically well in business, and I've seen it work terribly well in another business. Where it works well is create a business scorecard. You know, there's the old saying that anything that's measured and watched improves. So you create a business scorecard, I would say between 5 and 15 specific KPIs that you track on a weekly basis. And that ensures you get pulse in the business. And they're activity-based KPIs. So it's based on activity. Of those KPIs, the 5 to 15, you know, one person is accountable for each. And the person that's accountable is the person heading that function up. So it might be a head of sales or a head of marketing or whatever it is. But and then the areas that are off track are red flagged. You go back into the meeting the following week, and it's really just about driving momentum, accountability, traction. You know, I've seen people when I discussed this with a client fairly recently, implement this strategy into the business. There was a lot of red faces when people came into the room because they hadn't achieved things, but the mindset changed. You know, people realized they had to report back on an update from where they were. So, you know, it's very easy to get lost in the woods, and to get out of it, you've really got to have everything in front of you all the time. You've got to make sure that you keep focused on it. And that's really kind of my view on KPIs and why KPIs are important. You know, I've got a number of stories where they've not worked well, and others where they have. But that's generally why KPIs are important, and the difference between a KPI and a real KPI. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, you know, that's kind of the main thing I would say about, you know, target setting and KPIs.
And, you know, you are working with many clients at the moment. And, you know, when you work with individual people, there are lots of things you need to consider, because you need to consider if you're working with a specific business as a supplier, or you wanted to work with distributors, and a lot of other things. I will ask you a couple of questions. You know, when you engage with someone, maybe in the UK or global, first thing you need to see that, okay, you have a supplier or distributor engage with your company. So how do you select them, and how this workflow works for anyone they wanted to engage with you? How do you support them with?
Well, I think different people have different views on this. I can only go by my experience and what I've done in the past. But in some cases, and in smaller businesses and also larger businesses, it's appropriate to appoint a distributor. Mm-hmm. Or in the apparel industry that I was in, and or different industries, an agent. So somebody to take on a region or a territory, because either you can't invest, you don't have the necessary funds to invest in, you know, full-time sales team, and you really want a distributor with the experience, the expertise to go out there and sell on your behalf. Now, again, with distributors, creating the right sort of scorecard is really important, because I've worked with distributors where you don't get what I would call the airtime because you've not done the legwork before. You're under pressure to appoint a distributor. I'll give you a story. I was involved in a business a long time ago, and we had a distributor who went bust. I won't say who it was, and that the value of that business was about £1 million a month in turnover. They went bust overnight, and we then had to very quickly find a new distributor, turn it around, find other people to service the customers and not let them down. And the business, I was leading that at the time, so I was responsible for bringing on and sourcing a new distributor, and it was turned around in less than 4 weeks, and the story was a success story in the end. But other than being quite a pressured time in my career, what I learned from that, and learned since actually, is that there's a number of things. So if I go through a list of a number of things that's important. Now, this might come across as a bit of a soft one, the initial one, but it's very important. Can you work with them? At the end of the day, people are people. There's if they share the same values and you can get on with them, then it's definitely worth a consideration. And it's now where that goes in this matrix, you have to think about, but it's important that you get on with them. Now, the second one is, do they have the coverage you need? So are they covering the territories that you need them to cover? And can they prove that they are? Distributors sometimes will say, yeah, we do, we'll find a way of doing that. That's not good enough. You need the experience if you're entrusting them with your brands or your service to be able to give you clarity on the territory they're going to cover. The other one is, are they experts in your industry? Do they have good trade relationships? So because you're not going to have that direct. Now, you may go to a meeting with them, and I would hope that you would. But quite often the day-to-day operational relationships will be with the distributor. Do they have good relationships? Really important to spend the time looking at that. The next one is, do they have a good reputation in the industry? Are they known well for what they do? Are they financially stable? Given my past example, when I was burnt in that situation, it certainly makes you check that out as the first thing that you check out when you're doing a distributor selection. Do they have a skilled sales team and the technical know-how? A lot of businesses and industries I've worked in were quite technical. Does the distributor sales team have that know-how? And also, can they represent your brand in the right way? And this is the one that, apart from all the others, that is so important personally, because I've seen it not work well, is that have they taken on too many clients and therefore minimizing the share of time you get? So critical. In the old days, when we used to have a folder, Dr. Shah, with some distributors, where you don't want to be, if you were the customer and I was coming to see you, and you had a half an hour appointment with me and I'm the distributor, what you don't want is for your products to be at the bottom of that folder. So by the time the distributor gets halfway through, his meeting's finished. And that's a very basic way of explaining it. But I think you have to make sure that you are going to get the sufficient share of voice and the distributor's not overloaded with too many clients. That's my view on distributor selection.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. It's really contributing, and I think all the viewers, you are also enjoying our webinar today. So I'm Dr. 𝐶 Siddiqui from 𝐶 Marketing Agency, Time Research and Innovation, and Neurodivergent Business Consortium. And we have Chris Silverwood from the Coastal Tide. And we are just launching Coastal Tide today. We're going to be doing some more work, bringing some more talks, as well as we are thinking to develop some workshops and training as well online that you can get benefited the vast knowledge Chris has, and we're going to be contributing it together for you. And please keep on your eyes on our social media as well as all the channels that we are engaging with. So Chris has one event next November. If you live in South Coast, Southampton, Portsmouth, or surrounding areas, it is on the Fareham Innovation Center. Is it on 12th or 11th? Chris?
7th.
7. So it is on.
And just to say as well, Dr. Shah, that I'll be also accompanied with Steve Clark from 𝐒𝐳 Solutions. So he will be partnering with me. I've known Steve for a long time. We've worked together. Steve brings another unique set of skills to the mix. So if anybody's in the area interested in coming along, and we'd be more than welcome to see you.
Yeah. So you know that please keep this on your diary, because I'm also going over there to join Chris and Steve together and talk about business development. Because when you work, if you're a strategist yourself or you are a business, it's better to talk to someone they are strategically strong and they have a proven methodology to share with you and work with you. So I think that will tailor your growth, even though if you do not want to buy the product and services. Engaging with a knowledgeable person will extend your knowledge anyway, because you're going to be learning new things. As an academic myself, I always prioritize. We always prioritize things for knowledge. So if you wanted to do anything, you can prioritize your knowledge differently. So thank you, Chris. We're going to be ending this program very soon. We just have another couple of questions to ask you, if that is okay. When you work with target markets, okay, and we sometimes we do not understand our target markets. We do not understand our audiences. So working with you, people can understand the target markets and the audiences, as well as they can grow and develop strategically. So how they find you, if they wanted to work with you, through your websites, or do you have any other medium that they can get you there?
Yes, you can get hold of me on my website. I'm also on Twitter and YouTube. Facebook, you can get hold of me on all those mediums. You can get hold of me, Dr. Shah, on chris@coastaltide.co.uk.
Thank you, Chris. So Chris has some urgent appointments, so we're going to be ending these events in few minutes time. So please excuse me for that. But I thank especially all the guests who has attended today's webinar. It was a pleasure to talk to you, Chris, and as well as understanding details from you. So stay on the line. I'm just going to say bye-bye to the audience. And if you really need to go, I would say don't worry. You can leave, and I will conclude the programs. Just I wanted to show the tour of the sites, if that is okay. Otherwise, you can leave and we can talk later.
Thank you so much, everybody, and I appreciate your time, Dr. Shah, as always.
So thank you, Chris, for joining today's webinar. It's been a pleasure to working with you, and to all the audiences, I will say bye-bye to Chris, and I will just give another tour of his websites, and then I will end the program. So I just wanted to share my screen again. So you can see my screen, Coastal Tide funnel. We have designed this funnel to support businesses like Chris and others. So this is a knowledge that we have created. So we have combined existing knowledge with sales funnel. And as you know, that sales funnel is existing for many years, hundreds of years now, and we have combined the original sales funnel knowledge with the technology to create our funnel idea. So you can see it's very customizable, and we can customize everything you can see on this funnel. So it is hand coded, and we have used a stable framework, Laravel PHP, for these developments, and we can change every individual bricks of this software. You can see that it is designed in a way that people can understand you, and as well as attract to see what you are doing. So the first thing is there is explainer video. I'm not going to run the video now, but when you go to coastaltide.co.uk, you can play it around. You can see the videos option there. You can also book an appointment. So we have scheduled a calendar here. So this is a Google Calendar that we have embedded, but if you use any other calendar, you can also use them here. As I said, this is a full customizable funnel that we have created, and you can also include why it matters, because people, they will buy your product and services, they will know, and they will ask for understanding why they should buy it. And next section is the clients you are working with, and you can see all the clients that Chris has worked already, and the services that we wanted to tailor with this funnel. So all the services neat and clean, and designed to understand the value of the services that Chris is providing. And there is a call to action as well. So we have several call to action embedded to this website. And the lead magnet section is the crucial, because when you develop a sales funnel, you need to embed a lead magnet. Either that could be a book, or that could be a PDFs, or anything else that people can download it for free, or maybe with some payments. But we keep it free at the moment for you to download the book, and we will develop together this book for Chris. And the next section, you can see the portfolio. So on the portfolio, you will see the details of his work, and as well as call to action. So you can see call to action to book a calendar with Chris Silverwood. And the next thing is the packages. You need to know, people, that what type of package do you wanted to work with. So is Ignite growth package, Thrive growth package. If I go there, and optimize expansion packages. So Chris has 3 individual packages to select and work with. And the next thing is the frequently asked questions, and as well as a detailed interview with Chris, why it is important for you to work with Coastal Tide. And if you are a business and looking to expand, we are working together with some of our projects, and one of them I just wanted to share with you is Sales Funnel Accelerator. So with Sales Funnel Accelerator, we are working together. We have a methodology to work with you, and we have embedded a technology enhanced decision making to boost your sales. So we will support with the technology, and Chris will support with his knowledge. So combining together, we will grow to the next levels. I don't want to go into detail now with Sales Funnel Accelerator, but we are going to be having a summit on Sunday. So if you are free on Sunday, please keep an eye on our social media. And as well as if you wanted to go to Zenzi Marketing or Time Research and Innovation events, you will find our summit details. And we will have a new tour with our ready-to-go website. I just wanted to share you a glance. Ready-to-go website, Sales Funnel Accelerator. So as you know that we are working together, so we're going to be working together to accelerate people's businesses growths, and you have to have a proven mindsets to grow your business. So if you wanted to grow your business, this is the right time, because you know that uh, the country in the UK, it's growing, and you need to have that opportunity and have a growth mindset to grow your business to the next levels. We have strategies with us, and one of them is Chris Silverwood. You can go through with all the section later, but they specifically we wanted to share that we work with several strategists, and we're going to be having more strategists onboarded with this sales funnel accelerator, and we're going to be working together to grow your business to the next levels. So I don't wanted to share anything else. I hope you have enjoyed today and gain some experiences and knowledge from Chris and his conversation. This is not the end. We just started with Chris for webinar and all other things together. So we're going to be discussing more with you to how you can grow yourselves in relation with technology, and as well as in relation with original knowledge. When you're thinking about growing your business, sometimes I understand that people wanted to do a DIY. I also did DIY in my past, but there is a limit of that, because when you are a business and you have a specific reasonable investment and you wanted to grow faster, that time I think is better if you think like, okay, if you do not have that expertise, you can hire someone within your team, and you can grow your business to the next levels. Yes, there isn't any limit to learn. You can always learn and implement those. But if you hire someone and if you ask them to support you, they will be more than happy to support you with their knowledge and tailor their methodology with you. So, from last few years, I'm working with technology, I'm working with marketing, social media, business development, and so on. So with my knowledge and the team that we have embedded for the sales funnel accelerator, and as well as they have their unique business proposition to work with you, we can contribute you to the next levels, to get you to the next levels. And if you are looking to grow your business, feel free to contact me or Chris, and we will tailor our methodology for you to grow and get you the success you are looking for. So thank you, everyone, for joining today's live webinar and supporting us throughout. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from 𝐁𝐮 Marketing Agency, Time Research and Innovation, and Neurodivergent Business Consortium. You know that I do regular live webinar and audio events on LinkedIn and all other social media. So if you are thinking that, okay, you are the right person and I am the right person, and we can have a catch up, or you can have a meet call, feel free to book me a call through my website. You can go to 𝐁𝐮_marketing_agency.xyz or social selling at 𝐁𝐮_marketing.xyz or any other social media that you can reach me. I am available from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and all other social medias existing, as well as you can reach me over the phone. So you will get all my details on LinkedIn. And thank you for your time. We're just going to be ending these events now, and we will welcome you on Sunday. The special events that we're doing a summit with Terry Arnold and Sibitla from Bulgaria. So we are developing a program together to support entrepreneur globally. So we will welcome you on next Sunday. This Sunday. And if you wanted to join, feel free to go to Time Research and Innovation events page, and you will find the events registration. So until then, stay tuned. Please keep watching and spread the word and support our work. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.